You ever deal with one of those big, supposedly reputable companies? You know, the ones that promise you the moon, but all you end up with is, well, a headache? Today, we're going to dive right into that feeling, exploring a pretty sharp critique of what one author calls the blue chip illusion. Wow. I mean, that one sentence just says it all, doesn't it? You can almost feel the cynicism there. It's the kind of frustration that only comes from a really bad experience. Right off the bat, it takes a shot at that whole idea of corporate prestige we're all supposed to be so impressed by. So, where did all this start? Well, it all kicked off with a task that, honestly, should have been a piece of cake, just booking a flight. The author was dealing with the travel department of what they describe as one of the country's supposedly top-tier elite companies. And look at how simple this request was. It was all laid out on a silver platter. The airline they wanted, the exact routes and dates, even a simple little stopover. Like the author said, this wasn't some complex calculation. It was just basic, clear information that should have been super easy to handle. Okay, and this is the part of the story that might start to sound a little familiar. You know how it goes. The conversation starts off all professional and polite, sure. But everything, and I mean everything, hung on one little promise from the company rep, a promise about time. Let's just zoom in on those words for a second. A solemn promise. I mean, that sounds pretty official, right? Like they really mean it. And then there's that magic word, shortly. We all think we know what it means, but in the corporate world, does it actually mean anything at all? So, the author waited. The promise was made, the expectation was set. But as the minutes ticked by and turned into hours, you can just imagine that little question starting to bubble up. And the answer to that question? Nothing. Crickets. Just absolute silence. It turns out shortly is one of those corporate words that can mean anything from in a few minutes to maybe never. At that moment, the author realized the promise was totally empty, and that whole illusion of corporate efficiency just, poof, vanished. So this one frustrating incident got the author thinking on a much bigger scale. They took a step back from this one botched travel plan and started to draw a much broader and, honestly, a pretty provocative comparison about the private sector itself. And this right here really gets to the core of their argument. We've all heard the complaints about the public sector, right? That it's slow, inefficient, and that nobody cares. But what this incident proved to the author was that the so-called shining private sector can be just as bad, perfectly capable of delivering that exact same level of frustrating mediocrity. So this whole thing just snowballs from a simple complaint into a much bigger, more troubling set of questions. This isn't just about a forgotten itinerary anymore. It's about questioning what the word excellence even means. And this is the question that really sticks with you. If the companies we all look up to as the best of the best, our blue chip champions, can't even handle the simple stuff, then what does that say about our chances of tackling the really big, important challenges as a nation? It's a pretty sobering thought. And the whole thing ends with this absolutely perfect, cynical punchline. It's such a great way to sum up that feeling of disillusionment. Is blue chip just about branding? About having a nice colored logo? It's definitely a question that makes you think. And just to be completely clear, this explainer is all about exploring the perspective presented in the source material. The whole point here is to educate and share a compelling viewpoint with the public, with absolutely no malice intended toward anyone.